Shalom, shalom, family. All praises to the Most High. Back again for another Sabbath. Just as a mic test for those that are online, put sevens in the chat if you can hear us.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Put sevens in the chat if you can hear us. We want to make sure. All praise. Give the brother Iram a hand clap. Brother got us some new lights, man. All praises for that brother and his diligence and trying to further his truth. So if you can, just put a 7. I see him on the wall. Put a 7. All praises. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear effectively. Okay. You got to put 7. Okay, calm. All praises. All right, cool. That's all I need. That's all I need. As long as everybody can hear, I'm happy with that. So I'm pretty sure everybody already knows what's going on. We've been kind of covering this for the past, two weeks or something like that. We've been kind of covering this whole Kanye West thing, and now the Kyrie Irving thing, right? And I think that this is a very important time for us to be Israelites. It's a very important time for us to be Israelites because at this present time, a lot of our people waking up. I think that the book he quoted was number 1 on Amazon now. It's number 1 on Amazon now. It's getting real, and now it's crazy because now
That's crazy for real.
yes, it's number 1. The Hebrews to Negroes. It's number 1 on Amazon right now.
I was gonna say, man, you got black families that's like, we're gonna have a party and watch the Hebrews and Negroes. Yeah.
Oh, praise to the Most High. Get the Most High hand clap, man. Get the Most High is a chess player. All right, the Most High is a chess player. He's like, I got something for y'all. Because you know what's about to start happening? It's about to be popular now to be a Hebrew Israelite. It's popular now to be a Hebrew Israelite, And we want it to be popular to be a Hebrew Israelite because that's who we really are, right? And as long as there's blood in our bodies, we're going to continue to tell this truth. Now, I got to put some disclaimers out there because we're going to get into some good stuff today. We're going to talk about the Ish community. All right? Got to be careful, right? Because we got to back up these videos before they try to get rid of the channel, right? But we're going to talk about the Ish community, all right, and who they really are. I've been seeing a lot of stuff, a lot of conversations being had with these so-called Ish people and, them claiming our heritage. But today we're going to let some truth come out. So the first thing I want to do while we get into this is I want to look up a term, right? Now, who's heard of the Ashkenaz? Raise your hand if you heard of the Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz. All right, what's the Ashkenaz? Ahmad, what's the Ashkenaz?
It's like a part of the tribe of Edom.
No, not a part of the tribe of Edom. But it has something to do with Edom today. But it's not a part of the tribe of Edom. Go ahead.
A descendant of Japheth.
Get the mic. What?
He's a descendant of Japheth.
Okay. Ashkenaz. He was a descendant of Japheth, right? Let's go there. Get Genesis chapter 10. All right. This is important because 80% of your Jew family or Jewish family, 80%, that's a big number. 80%, that's more than half. They come from the tribe of Ashkenaz. All right. And I think then the rest make up like the Sephardic Jews, and then you got the Ethiopian Jews, right? But then the main Jewish families today would be considered the Ashkenaz, right? All you gotta do is go up to one of them and be like, what tribe are you from? Are you Ashkenazi? Or are you Khazarian? Khazarian is the New Age name of that same particular landmass that the Ashkenaz were in. Right? But let's see where the Ashkenazium come from, okay? According to the Bible, because we want to bring out the Bible, all right? This is strictly educational. You can't argue the facts. We want to bring out the Bible and who these people really are. We're going to get into some stuff today. Let's go ahead and get Genesis chapter 10 and read verse 3, I believe. Or 2.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tabal, and Meshech, and Tyrus, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz.
All right? Ashkenaz. So when you deal with it biblically, right? Tell your good pastors and stuff like that. Ask them, who are the Ashkenaz people? They should be able to tell you. Because these particular people, right, I would say, for the lack of better words, are better term, this particular area of where these people are from is very important. All right? This particular area of where these particular people are from is very important dealing with biblical prophecy. Okay? So you can't understand where we are in time unless you understand the Ashkenazis, all right, or the Ashkenazi and their brothers, right? You see some other names in there. You see Gomer in there. That's an important name. All right. Togarmah, that's an important name. These are important names because associated with the area that they surround. I want y'all to understand how real the Bible is, right? So when you look up the word Ashkenaz, let's look up that word. All right. Let's look up what the word Ashkenaz. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna break this all the way down, man. Break this all the way down. So let me share my screen. We got some people that's perpetrating. All right, Kanye West and Kyrie Irving, they right. All right. So Ashkenazi. Let me go ahead and so y'all can.
Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi, right? A Jewish person of Central or Eastern European descent, traditionally speaking Yiddish. About 80% of Jewish people today are Ashkenazi, compared with the Sephardim or Sephardic, right? So 80% of Jewish people today come from the region of the Ashkenaz. Now, we're going to break it all the way down, but according to who they are, y'all been hearing the term anti-Semitic. I'm pretty sure Iran went over it last week. We've been talking about it and been covering it for a couple of weeks nowadays now. You can't be anti-Semitic against these people because these people, biblically, if they want to claim Ashkenaz, they descend from the sons of Japheth. That's the first thing. That's just the first layman term thing. These people claim Jewish descent or Israelite descent or Semitic descent, but they're claiming a tribe that descends from Japheth. Now, what they will do is they'll say, "Well, our people migrated." We're gonna get some history too, because we want to stand with Kyrie and we want to stand with Kanye, and we want them to know that, hey, the Hebrew Israelites, like Iran said, the Hebrew Israelites got your back, and we're gonna bring out the facts. You know, all you gotta do, you know, if their heart was really with it, man, they don't even gotta play basketball a day in their life. All they gotta do is help the movement. They'll be all right. They'll have a family. Like what Kyrie said, I got an army behind me. He don't even know he really does. Kyrie really does have an army behind him. Kanye does too, right? If they really come into, because it's only one thing to know. But like I said, the Lord is doing playing chess right now. All right, he's putting his ducks in a row, and he's allowing his truth to go forth to where now no one can deny it. You have to talk about it, because prior before that, we wasn't getting no publicity. Was we, brothers? Was we getting invited on talk shows really like that and all that? No. Before we were, like in the early 90s and stuff like that, but after that, man, they shut us down. They was just trying to forget us. They was trying to forget about us as just a hate group. But the Lord said, nope, I'm gonna make important people come and talk to you. All right. So those are the Ashkenaz. All right, Ashkenaz. All right. So a Jewish person of Central or Eastern European descent. So this particular area is what we know as Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe. All right. Pay attention to this. All right. Now, it's another term that I want to look up. And all right, the Khazars. All right. This is another word you need to look up. The Khazars were a semi-nomadic Turkish people that in the late 16th century CE established a major commercial empire covering the southeastern section of modern European Russia, southern Ukraine, I don't know how to pronounce that, Crimea, and Kazakhstan. All right. So basically, to familiarize yourselves with this particular area, it will be like Russia and Ukraine, that particular area. Because remember when the war with Russia and Ukraine and all of that? Now, is it ironic? I'm going to be honest with y'all. And if at any time brothers and sisters get cold, brothers can turn down the air and stuff like that, okay? It's up to y'all. I'm just making sure because I know people just came in. So just to make this known, remember, right? This area is Russia. This area is Ukraine. This area would be what we would know as Rome. Okay? This is all the same area. Now, this is important to understand prophecy because according to prophecy, we're not going to go into all of that today, but for the sake of time, I'm going to just mention it, but we could have another class on just the extension of Rome. That last beast, which is the extension of Rome, is who? America. So America comes out of what? This same area. Let me show y'all a map real quick. Let me see, where's that map? Let me show y'all. All right. This map right here, this is just a map right here that I pulled up. And when you look, you see the Roman Empire right there? The Roman Empire. And look, these areas are the same areas of where Russia is. These areas are the same areas of where the Ashkenaz is and the Khazar Empire off the Black Sea, right? Right off the areas where the Black Sea is. This whole area, this whole landmass will be considered Eastern Europe, right? This particular area in this right here, all right, this region. So now, we go back to the Khazars. The Khazarians, right, are a Turkish people, can be considered a Turkish people in the late 6th century CE that established a major commercial empire covering the southeastern section. Now, why is this important? Because in the 6th century, what was going on? Brothers know what was going on? What was taking place in the 6th century? Does anybody know what was taking place? Huh? Huh? Use the mic. What was taking place in the 6th century? What is important about the 6th century CE or 6th century AD?
They was converted over.
Yeah, they did convert over. Huh? We had them. They converted over. We're gonna get some history on that. What else was important at this time? There was a war going on. What was that war? Who was that war fighting between? Who was fighting between in that war? The Muslims, the Arabs, and the Holy Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. Okay? The Romans, which is under the Byzantine Empire, and the Arabs under Islam, there was a war going on. It's called the Holy War. The Holy War. Now, why is it important to understand this today? Because when you understand that Rome is an extension of America, is an extension of Rome, and who is America fighting with right now? What are they fighting with right now? The Arabs. They're still fighting the same battle that they was fighting in the 6th century AD. It's the same fight. And what land are they fighting for? Israel. Right now, they're fighting Israel, bombing Israel, all the whole nine. This fight has been going on with the same group of people. These are the same groups of people. This fight has been going on, right? So now, I wanted to get a couple of those. So now let's go and let's read. So we got Khazars, we got the Ashkenaz, and this is all in the areas of Eastern Europe, right? And we also have Genesis chapter 10, verse 3, where this is in the Isles. This will be considered the Isles of the Gentiles, meaning the Isles of where Japheth was at, all right? So you got some people, well, we're not going to jump the gun, but we got some people that they use this information, and they use this information to say that the white man is Japheth, right? Because when you read Ezekiel chapter 38 and Ezekiel chapter 39, when you read Revelations 20, right, it talks about Gog and Magog. And these were supposed to be the ruling families or area that would be ruling and leading the charge against God's people. But I'm going to show y'all something, right? So let's get a little bit of history real quick. I got a book, right? Stop sharing my screen. I got a book. I want everybody to follow this. Follow me on this. I got a book, all right? It's called The 13th Tribe. Now, I'm going to read a couple pages out of this. I mentioned this book a couple days ago, but I actually want to read page 16, all right, of The 13th Tribe. And I want everybody to check this history, all right? Everybody, I want y'all to check this history and what we're about to read. So, matter of fact, let me read, let's read live. You don't mind reading? All right, read page, let's read page, this page right here, I believe this will be the rise, right? This is chapter 1. This is rise, all right? and this would be considered page 13. And I want you to read from here to here, and I want you to get some key points. Go ahead. If we can get somebody else to type in the scriptures in the thing, that'd be good, so you can focus on this. Okay. Go ahead.
From the 13th tribe, chapter 1. About the time when Charlemagne...
Read the front page of the 13th tribe real quick. The first, not the front page, but the front. Read that. All right.
Okay. So the 13th tribe by Arthur Koestler.
13th tribe by Arthur Koestler. Now, this is important history. Everybody should probably invest in this book. And what you do is when you read this book, because the Zionists, what they try to say is that anything that goes against them is anti-Semitism. So they're going to try to say this history is null and void. This history is not real. But you can check the facts of historical accuracy of this history being accurate that he's going to actually bring out. All right. So let's read that. So now go to page I wanted you to go to. The rise. All right. Let's read that. Let's get an understanding of who these people are. Who are the Ashkenazi and who are the Khazarians? Who are these people? Where did they come from? How did they get their power? All right. How did they get their power? Because do they have power? Absolutely. If you don't believe that they have power, we're going to see that they got power today. This is why Kanye and Kyrie put on hush mode right now. Well, I'm not going to say hush mode, but they getting their butts spanked right now. Go ahead, read that.
Right. So it's part 1, rise. About the time when Charlemagne was crowned emperor of the West, the eastern confines of Europe between the Caucasus.
So where are we at? Eastern Europe, right? Now, where else is in Eastern Europe? Caucasus Mountains. All of that is in the same regions and areas. All right? During the Dark Ages, where was the white man at? In the Caucasus Mountains. Where is that at? The regions of Eastern Europe. That's where they was at. Now, the crazy thing about it is, while Esau was in the Caucasus Mountains, remember, how many tribes of Esau's family is it? I think he said 13 princes. He got 13 princes. All right, 13 families from Esau. So remember, just like Israel has 12 tribes, Esau has different tribes as well. That means different tribes mean different shades of people, different looks. We might be the same people, but we're different tribes. You understand? So there's different families of Esau. Watch this, read.
The eastern confines of Europe between the Caucasus and the Volga were ruled by a Jewish state known as the Khazar Empire.
They were ruled by a Jewish state known as the Khazarian Empire. Right? We're going to see how they became a Jewish state. We got to uncover their lies now. Since the spotlight is on this, we got to put out the information as much as we can and uncover the lies. Read.
At the peak of its power, from the 7th to the 10th centuries AD, it played a significant part in shaping the destinies of medieval and consequently of modern Europe. The Byzantine emperor and historian Constantine Porphyrogenus must have been well aware of this when he recorded in his treaty on court protocol that letters addressed to the Pope in Rome, and similarly those to the Emperor of the West, had a gold seal worth 2 saladi attached to them, whereas messages to the king of the Khazars displayed a seal worth 3 saladi.
So you had the kingdom of the Khazarians, and then you had the Roman Empire, but you also have within those regions different kingdoms and different people that had power at this time. So the Khazarians were a people of power. They weren't just your booty tube people amongst the Edomite tribes. They actually had power. Or amongst the European tribes at that time in that region, they had power. The Khazarian and the Ashkenaz always had power. Start reading it.
Second paragraph. The country of the Khazars, a people of Turkish stock, occupied a strategic...
Now, did we just read that? The Khazars, aren't they of Turkish stock? Absolutely. So it says, a people of Turkish stock, right? Read.
Occupied a strategic key position at the vital gateway between the Black Sea and the Caspian.
Because where is this particular area? This particular area, as I showed you guys in the map, and I'm going to share it again. This particular area, all right? Oh, is there more? I think there's some chairs right here. Sisters can sit right here. Yeah, some 2 chairs right here. So let me go ahead and share this map right here. Boom. So y'all see this? This is the Roman Empire right here. This is the Black Sea right here, right? The Huns are important, but we're not going to get too deep into that history because the Huns were a people of great power. All right, y'all ever seen what's that movie? What's that movie with the Asian that cartoon? Huh? Mulan. Let's defeat the Huns. Remember that? Remember the Huns? These are these people. Now I'm not going to go into that history, but these people were a powerful people of the Edomite persuasion. All right, a Caucasian persuasion. All right. So go ahead, Lyle. Keep reading.
Where the great Eastern powers of the period confronted each other, it acted as a buffer protecting Byzantine against invasions by the lusty barbarian tribesmen of the northern steppes.
Right, so they're talking about the Arabs because the Arabs were coming and they were fighting against the Roman Empire. And the Khazarians and the Ashkenaz, they would help the Roman Empire to fight, which we know today as the Holy War. All right, now go from there, Live. I want to go through it real quick because I want to get the history of these people. Go to page 17. Let me see. Go to page 17, and I want you to read. Start here, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, read page 16.
Page 16, paragraph 1. Of a migration of Khazar tribes and communities into those regions of Eastern Europe.
So the Khazarians were in Eastern Europe. I'm showing you guys this again. Read.
Mainly Russia and Poland.
Mainly Russia and Poland. So these are the areas of where these people come from. They come from Russia, they come from Poland, they come from areas of Germany, the whole nine. All right, this is where they come from. All right, read.
At the dawn of the modern age, the greatest concentrations of Jews were found.
All right, so at the dawn of the modern age, how is it that in this one little section right here, I pulled it up, in this one little section, it says the greatest of the Jews are found. The greatest concentration of Jews are found. What about the Israelites or the Jews that was in Africa? What about all that history of the Jews that was in North Africa? What about all that history of the Jews that was in West Africa? What about all that history? But they're going to tell you that the greatest concentration of Jews are found in this area. Now, if you look on your phone, here's a map of Gomer. Here's a map of Magog. Here's a map dealing with Targama, Meshach, and Tubal. It's the same area. It's the same exact area. And you know what you see right there? This is a map from 1874. Look at this. Y'all see this word right here? Ashkenaz. You see Gomer? You see the Mediterranean Sea? You see where the Black Sea at? You see the Black Sea right here? This is the same landmass, the same areas from the Black Sea all the way to the Mediterranean, where Gomer was, where Targama was, where Meshach and Tubal were, where Ashkenaz was. All right, you can see this very clear. Right, this is important. I want y'all to follow along with this. All right, follow along with this. So now, keep reading, Lon.
It says this has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part and perhaps a majority of Eastern Jews and hence of royal Jewry might be of Khazar and not of Semitic origin.
You see that? So basically what they're saying is that how could these people, right, these people on greater review, there can't be from Shemitic origin because according to who they are, their Khazarians are Ashkenaz, which whose land was this? Gomer, Magog, Togarmah, all the isles of the, this was their area. Didn't we just read that and go back to Genesis chapter 10? Go back to Genesis chapter 10.
The book of Genesis chapter 10 verse 3. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah.
Where were they at? They were all in this same area. So now, if we have the people that's claiming to be, you're an anti-Semitism, if you speak against us, how, when according to the scriptures, according to your scriptures, you will be descended from the sons of Japheth, because that's what you're claiming. Right? That's what you're claiming. Even though we know that that's not who they are, but that's who they will be claiming. All right? Continue to read, Lot.
Paragraph 2. The far-reaching implications of this hypothesis may explain the great caution exercised by historians in approaching this subject.
Okay, stop right there. Go to page 19. Let me see. Go to page 19. I want to move quick. I'm going to be reading my book, so you know. So page 19, read this right here. Let's see how these people looked. How did these people look?
Page 19, section 3. But who were these remarkable people? Remarkable as much by their power and achievements as by their conversion to a religion of outcasts. The descriptions that have come down to us originate in hostile sources and cannot be taken at face value.
See that? So they converted. Actually, go back to page 17. It's a point that I want to read right here. Read this right here. I want to get that conversion. Read this right here. Read the highlighted, the two highlighted parts.
Page 15, first paragraph. A few years later, probably AD 740, the king, his court, and the military ruling class embraced the Jewish faith. And Judaism.
And what year did they embrace the Jewish faith? Read it again.
Probably AD 740.
AD 740, aka what? 6th, 7th century AD. They embraced the Israelites that were there. Now, it's a lot of history that we're not going to go over how our people got there. But if you get it, just so you can research it for yourself, and maybe we'll do a lesson on it. Our people went into Europe with the Moors. All right, our people went into Europe with the Moors, and also too, the Roman Empire was persecuting our people because didn't we have our people in Rome too? You could read that all throughout the Gospels. Wasn't Paul going into the areas of Rome and preaching the gospel? Don't we have a book of Romans? So our people were among those regions. Our people were there. But we had people that's not our people convert to what we were doing. All right? So let's keep read that.
A few years later, probably AD 740, the king, his court, and the military ruling class embraced the Jewish faith. And Judaism became the state religion of the Khazars.
You see that? In 740 AD, Judaism became the state religion in that region. How were they always Jews if it became a state religion? And furthermore, how the hell did it become a state religion when the Jews ain't from that state? That means you had some converts in that area that said, you know what? We like the Jewish religion. And it was a political reason why they converted to being Jews. They converted to being Jews because they didn't want to be from the Byzantine Empire, because remember, the Khazars were strong enough to operate outside of the Roman Empire. So they didn't want to conform to being Christians, and they didn't want to conform to being Muslims. So you know what they did? They said, we just going to be these people. We're going to be the Jewish people. That's what we're going to be. In 740, read.
Second paragraph. Our investigations cannot go into problems pertaining to the history of ideas, but we must call the reader's attention to the matter of the Khazar kingdom state religion. It was the Jewish faith which became the official religion of the ruling strata of society. Needless to say, the acceptance of the Jewish faith as the state religion of the
So the acceptance of the Jewish faith as a state religion. So it wasn't like they always were Jews. It was a conversion. You can Google it. You can look up books on it. You cannot erase the history. And if we got to bring this history out, we're gonna stand with Kyrie and Kanye, but we're gonna say it a little bit more boldly, but wisely at the same time. We're gonna say that we can't be anti-Semitic because the people that you claim of who you come from, your people converted to Judaism and weren't real Jews in the beginning. And that's something that you can't deny historically. And anybody can research this. But you know you got power when anytime you can take history and say history now becomes a conspiracy theory. That's crazy. You literally can take history that everybody knows happened and you can easily research, and now you can say that's anti-Semitism. If you go into, can you remember black people at that point? Boy, there'll be no KKK. There's still KKK in America. Well, this lesson gonna let you know who really got the power. That's why we stand with these brothers, right? Keep reading.
So it says the acceptance of the Jewish faith as the state religion of an ethnically non-Jewish people could be the subject of interesting speculations.
Of a non-Jewish people, right? So they converted. Now go to that 17, 15. Go back to 19 now. 19. Yeah.
Page 19.
So how did these people look?
Section 3. But who were these remarkable people? Remarkable as much by their power and achievements as by their conversion to a religion of outcasts.
So what religion did they convert to? Judaism. A religion of who? Outcasts. Because why were we? Why is it a religion of outcasts? Because we got kicked out of our land and we were nomadic, so we was bouncing from here to there to there. We didn't have no, but they wanted to be us. Watch this, read it.
It says the descriptions that have come down to us originate in hostile sources and cannot be taken at face value. As to the Khazars, an Arab chronicler writes, they are to the north of the inhabited earth towards the seventh clime, having over their heads the constellation of the plow. Their land is cold.
Stop right there. It says their land is cold, so it's giving you a description of their land. Is it cold in this part of Europe? Hell yeah, it get cold in Russia. Get cold in Germany. Get cold out there. That's some cold that brothers from LA we never going to experience. That's cold to the bone. You understand? Right, read.
It says their land is cold and wet.
So their land is cold and wet. Read.
Accordingly, their complexions are white.
And their complexion was white. Right? So it never registered to me why we always separated them people from white people. Because I used to be like, they're white people. Like, I'm going to show y'all some pictures of them. And y'all would be like, they literally, they the same. Like, I'm going to show y'all some pictures of them in the industry. And y'all would have thought, oh, that's a white man. No, they not. They actually come from the Jewish community. I used to be confused, like, so y'all not white people? Like, this is before I was in the truth. I used to be like, so they not white people, but they are white. Blonde hair, blue eyes, same thing. Right? You know, when a white man get in cold areas, his skin get more pale. Y'all know that, right? Come on. Read.
It says, accordingly, their complexions are white, their eyes blue.
Their eyes are blue. Read.
Their hair flowing and predominantly reddish.
Their hair is flowing. That flowing hair. I got some brunettes among them, some blondes among them. Right? Read.
Their bodies large and their nature's cold.
You know how Edomites, they kind of got a different type of, if you look at like the way our bodies are, I don't know his name. But normally, like, if you look at strongman competition and stuff like that, so a lot of Edomites that do that, Edomites are real thick. Their skin is thicker than ours. Y'all know Edomites? Ever seen Edomites thick? Like, they're thicker, like blubbery, more blubbery than us as a people, as a race of people. Our climate, we're more tropical people, so we more thinner, you know what I'm saying? We're different. Our bodies, like when we do push-ups or we lift weights, our bodies get cut faster. Their bodies are more blubbery, you know, and they're more a thicker group of people. Especially, oh yeah, like Tyson Fury is a good example. Like, you know, the what do you call himself, the Gypsy King? And it's funny because this is all in the same region. All right. So read, watch this. Read.
It says their general aspect is wild,
and they're wild people. They're a wild group of people. I ain't gonna go too. He go into how wild they are. I mean, we don't gotta read it, but they eat blood. They doing all of that. This is what the Khazarians and the Ashkenaz would do. It was crazy. They'll kill you and drink the blood of their enemies. The whole nine. They'll do all of that. All right. They rarely bathe because it was so cold, so they didn't really take baths and showers. I mean, this is all historical fact. But didn't the Moors go over there and teach them how to bathe and re-civilize them and stuff like that? This is what happened. All right. And the Moors got over there in these areas of Europe because they had the help of the Jews that were in that land, that helped the Jews and the Moors come into that land. They successfully invaded Europe. Remember, they were trying to fight against Europe, but different things like diseases and stuff like that at that time in history, like started taking them out. And they had to go into what we call a dark age. And then also too, a lot of infighting with the Roman Empire. All right, so it's a little bit of history. That's what I like. History is the gateway to understand how we got to where we are now. All right, so we got to go into this. Go to page 19, 20. Go to page 20. Page 20, read this here. Read that.
Page 20, first paragraph, it says, nor had the Gregorian or Armenian scribes, whose countries of a much older culture have been repeatedly devastated by Khazar horsemen. A Gregorian chronicle, echoing an ancient tradition, identifies them with the host of Gog and Magog.
See that? So even their own history identifies that landmass with Gog and Magog. As you can see, Gog and Magog were in these areas. Don't worry, we're going to clear it up. How the hell did these people become Edomites? All right, don't worry, we're going to clear that up. All right, so let's go from there. All right, so let's go from there. So, yeah, read the last part.
It says, wild men with hideous faces.
And they were wild men, and they had hideous faces, meaning they were crazy. All right, and Esau is crazy. All right, so was that it?
It says, and the manners of wild beasts.
And they had the manners of wild beasts. And don't get it twisted, these people still got the manners of wild beasts. I'm going to show you that, right? We're going to show you how they still have it. They might make you think they're prestigious and they have a tie on and they, you know, but these people are wild beasts, all right? And they're very aggressive, all right? Look at what they're doing to Kyrie and Kanye. Very aggressive, very aggressive. I think Kyrie just lost a Nike deal, didn't he? They suspended him, right? And they said he's Kyrie 8s. They're not coming out. Understand? They're very aggressive people when it comes to offending them. All right. So let's go from there. So who are these people? Are they Japheth? Well, let's get the scriptures. One thing we got to do, we got to see how do these people correlate with Edomites, right? Go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 9. This is the first thing we got to understand. I'm gonna go through it real quick. I'm not gonna go through a whole elaborate breakdown on it, but I'm gonna go through it real quick on how you can prove who these people are. Go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. You got that? Read.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. Read. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
So it says Esau is the end of the world, all right, and Jacob is the one that follows. So what is that saying, brothers? Who got the mic? Who got the mic? Who got the mic? Oh, what is that saying, Iman?
Did you read it?
2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Esau is the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of the one that follows. What is that saying?
Esau's going to be the people of Esau, they're going to be the last king ruling in powership. Or not the last king, they're like second to last, basically. So it's going to be their kingdom, and then Jacob is going to come and follow.
Right, so the last kingdom until there you go. The last kingdom until the end days, who's supposed to be ruling? Esau, because it says Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the one that follows. So now, according to the scriptures, when did Esau ever have world domination in the Bible? Huh? It's a rhetorical question. Meaning, Babylon ruled, Persians and Medes ruled, right? The Assyrians ruled. When did Esau rule? He didn't rule until the Greeks came into play. Now, who are the Greeks is the question. Who are the Greeks? And where is the area in the land of the Greeks? The area in the land of the Greeks is where? In Europe. The area in the land of the Greeks are in Europe, right? Let's get a prophecy before we go into that. So Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the one that follows. Get Genesis 27:38. Genesis chapter 27, verse 38.
The book of Genesis chapter 27, verse 38.
Read.
And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father?
All right, so remember when Esau got that blessing? Watch this, read.
Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Read.
Verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
So what does it mean when it says thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above? Everywhere. Esau, he everywhere. You just can't pinpoint him to one spot. Remember, this is a prophecy. He said that his kingdom shall be the fatness of the earth, meaning the best lands, right? And not only the best lands, but as the dew of heaven. That means everywhere, because where is there a place in heaven that the dew doesn't touch? Or where is it on earth that the dew doesn't, the dew, which is what we see in the sky, can't touch within the earth? So he says that's where your land is going to be, everywhere. He's going to be in every. And so what is that saying? If another people lives in a certain region or landmass, what is that saying? That's saying that he has to go and what? infiltrate. Because if he's going to own, for instance, America, but you have a group of people that already lives in America, what does Esau have to do? If that's going to be his land, he got to invade. He has to invade and he has to conquer. Follow it up with the next verse. Read.
Verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And by the sword, he's going to live. So how is Esau going to be? Is Esau going to be peaceful? Is Esau going to be loving? It says, by the sword he shall live. By the sword he shall live. So when he's going to these other nations to live in, how is he coming? In peace or with a sword? Because the sword said, that's how he's going to live. Watch this, read.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother.
And he's going to serve his brother. So when did we ever see Esau having his foot on his brother's neck? In the Bible. Outside of prophecy. We haven't. We got little stories here and there of Esther, right? With Haman. We got the Edomites, they always will try to go with our enemies. But when did Esau ever have power? When was Esau ever the dominant power in the Bible outside of prophecy? It would have to be with prophecy because we don't see it outside of prophetic means. And this is a prophecy. Watch this, read.
And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated that.
It says he's going to be the leader. So there's going to be one day that Esau is going to be the leader. He's going to have dominion. So what do we have here? We have Esau having his land be the fatness of the earth, from the dew of heaven, meaning everywhere. Because it's dew everywhere. Yes, early in the morning you see dew everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. And he's going to have the best lands. Does he have the best lands? Who controls America? Who controls Europe? Who controls Great Britain? Who controls colonized certain parts of Africa? The Congo, West Africa, things of that nature. Esau. Esau has all of that, right? So now let's go from there. This is important. Go to Jeremiah 49 and 10. Watch this. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10. Go ahead, read that.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 10.
Pay attention to this one. Read.
But I have made Esau bare.
So it says, I have made Esau bare. Read.
I have uncovered his secret places.
It says, I have uncovered his secret places. Now, where's Esau's secret places? Watch this. Read.
And he shall not be able to hide himself.
Where is Esau trying to hide? Under other people. Watch this. Read.
He shall not be able to hide himself.
His semicolon meaning is continuing the thought. Read.
His seed is spoiled.
Why did the Lord say he can't hide? Because his seed is spoiled. Meaning, huh? Yeah, but how is he trying to hide himself? They stand out, but how is Esau trying to, right? How is Esau trying to hide himself? Among people. He's trying to, I'm a European. I'm Egyptian. I'm Armenian. I'm Eastern European. I'm Jewish. I'm Colombian. Shit, excuse my language. I'm African. South African. He everywhere. What is Esau not? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, what is Esau not? He everything. Watch this. The white man is everything but who? Esau. Y'all notice that? The white man is everything and everybody except Esau. You say the white man Esau, he's going to say, no, he's not. But he claimed everybody else. But the Lord said, you can't hide because your seed, who you are, is spoiled. And what that means is you're just a filthy, nasty person and wicked who's more vile than Esau. So the Lord, you can't hide from me. You can disguise your name all you want. You can go to other nations. You can claim Japheth all you want. I know who you are. And did Esau try to claim Japheth? Absolutely. Now, I love this, right? There's a book that you guys can get for the sake of time. I'm not trying to go through all of that, but it's a book called Black Athena by Martin Barnell. Black Athena by Martin Barnell. I haven't read the whole book, but I've read a little bit of it in a PDF online. It is a good book about how the original Greeks were a people of color. They were not Caucasian. The original Greeks, which is where the Isles of the Japhet are, they were originally a black, dark, a melanated people. I'm not going to say black like they were us, but they were a melanated people. And you can read that history for yourself. They were not Caucasian people. This is a fact. Black Athena by Martin Barnell. Okay? Look that up. And what you do is when you read that book, take the sources. Get the source material from that book and research the sources. And that's how you study. You don't even have to necessarily read the whole book. I would suggest you do, but you don't necessarily have to read the whole book. Just go to the source material and look at where this particular writer and historian got the sources from. And all of the Greeks in the landmass, they were black. All right? They were black, a people of color, I should say. Right? So when did the Edomites begin to take over Greece? Right? When did the Edomites begin to take over Greece? Anybody? Soldiers. When did the Edomites begin to take over Greece? Armand, you know?
That was Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great. Now, who is Alexander the Great? I went through this with brothers before, but I'm going to go through it with everybody else. Who is Alexander the Great? He's a Macedonian. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and 1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. Read. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, read, the Macedonian,
read,
who came out of the land of Shittim,
So who was Alexander's father? His name was Philip. And what was he? A Macedonian. All right, a Macedonian. Now from there, go down, read verse, you can read verse 3 all the way to 10, and you can read verse 3.
Verse 3, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him.
Read.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So Alexander, what did he do? At that time in 333 BC, what did he do? He conquered the known world at that time. But Alexander's father was Philip, a Macedonian. You got to see who that is. All right. Go to 2nd Ezra 16 and 10. That's in the Apocrypha. The Ezra's in the Apocrypha. Esther. I'm sorry. The Esther in the Apocrypha. The rest of Esther in the Apocrypha. All right. The rest of Esther. So some of Esther was actually taken out. And I want you to read chapter 16, verse 10.
The book of Esther, in your Apocrypha, chapter 16, verse 10. For Haman, or Amon.
Y'all remember who Amon or Haman is? All right, read.
A Macedonian.
A Macedonian. Who was Haman? Was Haman a Macedonian? But what was Haman? He was an Amalekite. Who are the Amalekites? Edomites. So Haman was from the same tribe that Alexander's father was from. Alexander was a what? Go back to 1 Maccabees 1 and 1.
1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. It happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian.
So Alexander was a what? Macedonian. Now go back to Esther in the Apocrypha.
The book of Esther in your Apocrypha, chapter 16, verse 10.
Read.
For Haman, a Macedonian.
Haman, a Macedonian. Right? Read.
The son of Ammedatha.
The son of Ammedatha. Read.
Being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood.
Okay, now go to Esther in the Bible, the regular Bible outside of the Apocrypha, and read chapter 3, verse 10. Let's see who Haman was. He was a Macedonian, but let's see who he also was.
The book of Esther, in verse 3.
Chapter 3, verse 10.
Salakia, chapter 3, verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
The Agagite. So who are the Agagites? which are Macedonians. Let's get that. Go to 1 Samuel 15 and 7.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 7.
Read.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Gog, the king of the Amalekites.
Gog was the king of who? The Amalekites. The Amalekites are who? Edomites. Alexander was who? An Edomite, because he's a Macedonian. Haman was what? A Macedonian. And he also was an Agagite. All right? So these names and times, you got to keep up with them, and you got to see that the first Edomite king or ruler in Greece was Alexander the Greek. All right? He was a Macedonian who are Edomites. And if you want to get into the history of Herod, who's Herod? Who's Herod? Edomite. Who's Idumean? Idumean is the Greek word for what? Edom. All right? All right? So I wanted to correct myself because I was talking to my brother Iram, and I said this would be considered like an anachronism, but it's actually not an anachronism. Anachronism is when there's a particular landmass that has come into a new name, but literature calls it by the name that it's newly called, but it's really the ancient name is not called that anymore. So that would be like a anachronism. So when landmass, so for instance, if I say on Obama Boulevard, right? Remember, Obama Boulevard used to be what? La Brea, right? But now we know it as Obama. It's kind of like, for an example, Rodeo, Salakia. Rodeo was the one that changed, right? Rodeo changed, right? Rodeo changed to Obama, right? Salakia. So Rodeo changed to Obama. So it would be similar to like when you see he built up treacherous cities and for Ramesses, right? In Genesis. Well, it's not really Ramesses. It actually is just telling you the area of what it's known for at that time. Because, you know, Israel was alive at an earlier time in that period than Ramesses was. So that would be considered an anachronism. So anachronism is when a land begins to take on a different name and be known as a different name. What this will be called, what Esau is doing, is called a pseudonym. All right, a pseudonym. And I'm going to get the definition of that. This is what Esau is doing. Let me share my screen, and I want y'all to see what he's doing. All right. Let me look this up. All right, pseudonym. All right, let me share my screen. This is what Esau is doing right now as we speak. So I'm going to share. All right. All right. Pseudonym, okay? A fictitious name, especially one used by an author, right? You go down. You got another one?
Yeah.
Okay, a pseudonym is a false or fictitious name, especially one used by an author. It was one. Okay, here it is right here. And I'm gonna let you read yours too loud. A pseudonym or alias is a fictitious name that a person or group assumes for a particular purpose, which differs from their original or true name. This also differs from a name that entirely or legally replaces an individual's own. So this is called a pseudonym. So a pseudonym is when a man wants to remain anonymous, he'll have a different name or go under a different alias. And this is what Esau does. So instead of Esau letting you know I'm an Edomite, he's going to say, I'm from Greece, meaning I'm from Gomer. I'm not an Edomite. I'm a Greek. I'm not an Edomite. I'm a Roman. I'm not an Edomite. That's not who I am. They're going under different names to disguise who they are, right? You got another one? Go ahead. Which one you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, it says having or using a false or assumed name.
Having or using a false. So I don't want to be Rothschild no more. I'm going to steal, kind of like when people try to do what? They try to steal your identity. That would be considered a pseudonym. I'm not Iram no more. I'm Rothschild. I'm not Rothschild no more. I'm Iram. You ain't Iram. I know Iram. I'm Iram. See that? Or I'm another nation. I'm a Greek. This is what Esau is attempting to do, and how Esau wants to hide himself among the nations. Because what is Esau trying to run from? Judgment. But you're not going to be able to run from the judgment of the Lord. All right? So that's called a pseudonym. All right, this is what Esau is doing. Get Revelations 20 and 7. But the Lord knows this, huh? The Lord knows this. Watch this. Yep, read 27. Revelation chapter 20, verse 7.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7.
Read.
When 1,000 years are expired.
All right, so what happens in 1,000 years? That's supposed to be the time of when the dragon is locked up for 1,000 years, right? We did a lesson on that. That would be called the Dark Ages. What happened to the white man for 1,000 years? From the time of the Moors all the way in time of Queen Elizabeth in around the 1900s. What happened? They were in darkness for 1,000 years. If you look it up, how long the Dark Ages lasted, it was 1,000 years. The Dark Ages lasted for a total of 1,000 years. The white man was shut up, he was down, he wasn't ruling for a period of 1,000 years until he came back. So what happens directly after this 1,000 years with this dragon? Read, which we know is Esau, but we're not going to go too deep into it for the second time. Go ahead, read.
And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison,
Read.
and shall go out to deceive the nations, which are in the four quarters of the earth,
Read.
Gog and Magog.
Now it says, he shall deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog. So the question would be, when you read Revelations chapter 12, right? Who is Revelations chapter 12 talking about? What nations of people? Edomites, right? But what does Gog and Magog have to do with the book of Revelations? Now this is important because we also have brothers, prophecy dealing with Russia and things of that nature. But I want to share with y'all something that I see in the scriptures. It says Gog and Magog. Where is Gog and Magog? Eastern Europe. Ironically, Gog and Magog is in Eastern Europe. Ironically, where is the Khazarian Empire at? Eastern Europe. Where is the Ashkenazis at? Eastern Europe. All right? Ironically, right? But now watch this. Read.
Together.
One time, read verse 8.
Verse 8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog.
So Gog and Magog are going out and to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, right? It calls them Gog and Magog. Now, I got a question for you. How is Gog and Magog in the last days deceiving the world? Huh? Give me a real life example. How is Gog and Magog deceiving the world? Huh? Because who are they? Esau. But who are they? They're Ashkenaz. They're Ashkenaz. Remember the pseudonym. Remember, Esau's calling himself an Ashkenazi Jew. And who are the Ashkenaz? Gomer, Turgama, Magog. It's all in the same area. So now somebody said Gog and Magog was the Chinese. I don't know how the hell they got that. They might be watching too much. You know what they watching? They watching TVN, where the Christians they make the Christians make the Muslims. They make the Arabs Esau, and they make the Chinese Gog and Magog, because those are the enemies of America. You understand? That's a Christian doctrine. No, the truth is Gog and Magog, right? Not saying everybody from Gog and Magog, but the scriptures is giving you a key to focus on. The scriptures is giving you a key, like a hint. It's a prophecy. So it's trying to tell you something. That these people that are influencing the world go by Gog and Magog. All right? Because this could possibly not be talking about Russia, like actual physical Russia. Why? Like I'm talking about the like Putin. This couldn't be talking about Putin. Why? This right here. It couldn't be talking about Putin. Why? Because he's not influencing the world. Is Putin influencing you? Who wants to be a Russian? Slavic, who wants to be that? Ooh. Trying to get y'all to think about something. Do the Russians control the media? Does Putin control basketball? Does Putin control Hollywood? So the Bible's telling you that Gog and Magog is the hint will deceive the nations. Well, how are the nations getting deceived right now? By what? If you go watch that, it's a documentary called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there. It was a part of that documentary where they were talking about how social media literally can win wars. Y'all understand how powerful social media is? Social media is so powerful, it's banned in certain places because it literally can win wars. How can social media win wars? Propaganda! Make the people of that community go against their government and overthrow it. All with social media. I'm gonna tell you how powerful social media is. Social media is so powerful. I was watching this dude, and he was, you know how they'll talk to people on the street. He was talking to this girl, and he said, "Do you like Kanye?" She said, "I love Kanye." He said he created a clothing line called White Lives Matter. She said, "F Kanye." He said, "So you think Kanye crazy?" She said, "Yeah, Kanye's crazy." He said, "Why do you think Kanye crazy?" Because he is. But she just said she loved Kanye. But when she found out it was a shirt that said White Lives Matter, she changed on him right then and there. You know what that's called? Brainwashing. Propaganda. That means that they're going to believe whatever media tells you. Why is it so important for Kanye and Kyrie to be crucified the way they're being crucified? Because they have influence over a large scale of what? Media. Media. So now we have to crucify you with the media because media is there to do what? Control the people. And who controls media? Huh? Let's see who controls media. So I got this. I got y'all right here. Don't worry. We gonna. All right. So who controls? This is okay. So the NFL. Who controls the NFL? Now I looked this up. No matter where you go, I'm not saying 100% because that's what people try to key on. Majority of shareholders in any main company are a part of that persuasion. So for instance, when you look up the Football Association, majority of the NFL teams, there's 32 NFL teams, correct? 10 of those 32 NFL teams are owned by Ish. You're not gonna say their name because I've been saying. Oh wait, so here's one. Arthur M. Blank. He owns the Falcons. All right. Here's another one. Mark Davis. He owns the Raiders. He's an Ish. This dude right here, Glazer family, the Glazer family. They're Jewish. Don't they look like the description we read in the book? Jim Irsay, he owns the Colts. This dude right here, he owns the Eagles. Stephen Ross, he owns the Dolphins. All these people are Jewish. So 10 out of the 32 NFL teams are owned by that community. Well, let's get some more. Watch this. All right. Let's get hip hop. Didn't Kanye West say it? Didn't Kanye West say it? But let's prove it. All right. This guy right here. Let's read this. Lucien, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's the president and the CEO of Universal Music Group. All right. So y'all ever heard of Universal? Universal is owned by this guy, who is of that community. All right. What about this guy? Universal Music Group again. This guy. What's his name? Down here. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm sorry. Down here. Bill Ackman. This guy. What do they know about hip hop? And what did Kanye West say? Making money off of what? Kill that nigga. Take his girl. Kill that. Right? These guys right here. There's another guy right here. That's Universal. Sony Music. Who owns Sony? Sony Music is another major record label that has put out a lot of negative songs about blacks. That's a fact. This guy right here. All right, Rob Stranger. All right. This guy right here, Sony Music Group. Another guy, Sony Music Group of that particular community. Look at him. Kevin Keller. All right, Sony Music. These are the major, and now I don't know how to pronounce their last names, but these are the major music groups that control the music. What is the number one entity on earth that is in charge for mind manipulation? Deceiving the world. Music. Everybody want to be a rapper. Why? Everybody want to be a gangster, I should say. Why? Why does everybody want to be a gangster? Because their favorite who? Their favorite rapper. But all of those agencies are owned by Jewish men. Warner Music, which is Warner Brothers. This guy right here, Stephen F. Cooper. See him? All right, do we need more? How many black people do you see this? And don't get it twisted. We talk about the major music labels. All right, the major music labels are owned by these guys. All right, owned by these guys. These guys own it. What else do they own? All right, one big one that y'all gotta pay attention to. Y'all gotta pay attention to. Private banks. Now, what are private banks? What's the importance of private banks? AKA central banking. What is central banking? AKA the Federal Reserve. Does anybody know about the Federal Reserve? Let's get some history on the Federal Reserve. Let me get. I'm gonna get this before we read this, right? So now I'm gonna ask y'all something. If I control the sports industry, because who controls basketball? Adam what? He's a part of that community. But football, part of that community. Music, majority, part of that community that owns that. Now money. So if I control your media, the owners of Google, the two dudes that created Google are that community. You know, Google owns YouTube. I know that, right? Social medias, Facebook and Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg. Is what Kanye West is saying coming true? I mean, it's a fact. All right, don't need to look this up. This is the meeting at Jekyll Island. All right. In November 1910, 6 men, Nelson Aldrich and Pitt Andrew, Henry Davison, Arthur Shelton, Frank Vanderlip, and Paul Warburg met at the Jekyll Island Club off the coast of Georgia to write a plan to reform the nation's banking systems. The meeting and its proposed were closely guarded secrets, and participants did not admit that the meeting occurred until the 1930s. But the plan written on Jekyll Island laid the foundation for what will eventually be the Federal Reserve System. This is a fact. They just don't control America's money. They also control a majority of Europe and Great Britain's money. Y'all understand what we're saying? So now, if I control your music, if I control your social media, if I control your sports, and if I control your money, what do I control? Everything! I control your money, I control your sports, I control your social media and your media. TNT, who's the head of that? What's his name? Is he in that community? Yes. Everything, huh? Yeah, right? So now, this is the private meeting at Jekyll Island. So what happened at Jekyll Island? Now, for my good old American people, right? For my good old American people, all right, I want y'all to look this up. The Federal Reserve Bank, right, is a consortium of 9 Zionist Jewish-owned and associated banks with the Rothschilds at the head. So you can look this up. Rothschild Bank of London and Berlin. They got a Rothschild Bank of London and Berlin. Khazar Brothers banks in Paris. All of these are a part of that community families. Israel Moses Schiff banks in Italy. I think that's how you say it. Warburg. Who's that guy? Warburg Bank of Hamburg and Amsterdam. So that's in Amsterdam. All right, and we can keep reading on and on. Look at this one. This is the one that I really want to read because National Bank of Commerce, NY Morgan, was it Royalty Trust, JP Morgan Bank. Why is Chase JP? Because what did JP just say they didn't want to do with Kanye? Said your money ain't good here no more. Said they got so much profit. Your money ain't good here, bro. You a billionaire, we don't need that. Forget all of that. All right. Now, Warburg, y'all gotta look this dude up. Warburg, which was one of the guys that was actually a part of the meeting at Jekyll Island in 1910, which they finally admitted took place in 1930. So it's no longer a conspiracy, guys. They admitted in 1930 that it happened. This dude is a family that's aligned with the Rothschilds, a very powerful family. Matter of fact, let me look him up. We're going to look him up real quick. Let me look him up. All right? I want y'all to, I'm going to look him up. All right? Warrenberg, where's his name at? And I want you to read Revelations 20 one more time. Read it one more time.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth. Gog and Magog.
All right, Gog and Magog. So let me ask you again. How can Gog and Magog be deceiving the nations? Is Japheth somewhere ruling? Where's Japheth at? Shit, excuse my language. We don't even know who he is really. We're like, where is Japheth? We don't even, like, a lot of us trying to debate. Is he the wine? I mean, I'm just being facetious, but Japheth is not ruling nothing.
Right.
Who's ruling right now? I'll show y'all something. Look at this. Who's deceiving the nations? All right, this guy right here. Paul Mortitz Warburg. All right. He died January 24th, 1932. Remember, I told you that in the 1930s, they admitted that this meeting took place, and he was still alive. But he died in 1930. Watch this. Was a German-born American investment banker who served as the second vice chair of the Federal Reserve from 1916 to 1918. All right. This dude, all right, was, and let's get this. I want to show you where he actually comes from. So y'all see this? This is how this dude look. Y'all see him? Here he is right here. See him? I'm gonna tell y'all this. Before these Federal Reserve and these private banks actually took over America's currency, your founding forefathers that you love so much, right? George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. You know they fought against these guys, right? Yeah, it's a fact. So when people be like, you're anti, and they trying to change the meaning of Semitism. If that ain't power, come on, man, they changing definitions. That's crazy. So let me go, let's read, I want to read, all right. So Warburg was born in Hamburg, Germany to the Warburg family, all right? All right, the Warburg family, let me read the Warburg family. Is a prominent German and American banking family of German Jewish and originally Venetian Jewish descent. So they're what? They're Jewish, but they're from Germany. We're not going to get into the whole Hitler narrative, but because we don't like him either, but you'll begin to realize that all this war was happening with those people because certain individuals knew what was about to happen and transpire. And the funny thing is, after that dude was killed, what happened? World War II. Huh? World War II, but yeah, but they got put where? In Israel. And who put them there? America. Why does America aid them so hard and so much? They don't aid nobody. And America's allies are only those who ally with who? The Israelis. Why? Because who secretly, put it like this. If I fight for Love and I don't let Iran mess with Love, and I'm gonna make sure nobody touches Love. Basically, what am I telling y'all? That Love is of so much importance to me because either he's my brother or he's a leader figure to me. You understand? Why is America going so hard to fight their wars? They're the same people, but they're all Esau. Now I get into it, they're all Edomites. But this particular family is the chief Edomites. They control everything. They run the narrative. Look at this. The Warburg family is a prominent German and American banking family in Germany. All right, y'all see this? So, and it's family of German, Jewish, and originally Vietnamese Jewish descent. All right, so they were into banking. So I'm gonna keep reading this. A Jewish banking dynasty with origins in Venice. His parents were Moritz and Charlotte Esther Warburg. All right. So this guy was a top guy dealing with the banking dynasty, and he was a part of the meeting at Jekyll Island. All right. Because and he also was basically a counterpart with the Rothschilds. Because what did the Rothschilds say? I care not who what? Let me get it. What did he say? Let me look it up. Yep. Look at this. This is a quote by Mayer Amschel Rothschild. All right. He says, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who establishes its laws." So let me ask y'all a question. Does Democrat and Republican matter? Do they care about Democrats and Republicans? Because they control what? The money. The money. Now, your founding forefathers, let me read this. That's some stuff we're going to read. When I say your founding forefathers, of course, we're not talking about ourselves. 8 presidents who opposed a central bank. All right. Look at this. George Washington. That's the founding forefather, right? He opposed central bank. Meaning he opposed Federal Reserve. He opposed private bankers controlling the money. General Andrew Jackson. Y'all know who that is? Andrew Jackson? A devil still. No, nonetheless, it's still a devil. But this is just to show you this is facts. Andrew Jackson, a hero of the War of 1812 for defeating a superior British force at the Battle of New Orleans. Jackson was put into power to defeat the establishment of a central bank that was supported by President John Quincy Adams and was feared would split the nation because you had some people, right? Some Americans wanted a central bank because it was a benefit for them, but some presidents did not want a central bank. This is what he said. This is a quote from General Andrew Jackson. The bold effort the present central bank had made to control the government are the promotions of the fate that awaits the American people should they be deluded into the perpetuation of this institution or the establishment of others like it. I am one of those who do not believe that a national debt is a national blessing, but rather a curse to a republic, inasmuch as it is calculated to rise around the administration of money, aristocracy, dangerous to the liberty of the country. Did I say that right? Aristocracy. See, I gotta forgive me. But this was a quote by Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was against what? Central banks. Who controls central banks? The Ish. Let's go down. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was one of them. All right. I'm going to go down all the way down to the last president, JFK. And they murked that boy. And he was against it. And in his last speech, I want y'all to go listen to JFK's last speech. He was talking about them. Go to his last go home. I wish I had the TV and stuff. I would play it for y'all. Go home or after class, type in JFK's last speech. He was talking about the private banks that were trying to control America, and they killed him. All right. It says President J.F. Kennedy, with the election, the country's fortunes near victory when on June 4th, 1963, President Kennedy issued Executive Order 11110, which for the first time since 1913 returned to the United States government the power to issue currency without going through the Federal Reserve. Facts. You can't argue with history. So who controls the money? The Ish. Read Revelations real quick.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 8. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. Gog and Magog.
Shall go out and deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. So now, I'm going to ask you a question. How can God deceive the nations? With what? Money. Who owns the money? Who is Gog and Magog? Who's the Ashkenazi and the Khazarian? They're controlling this. Go from there. Go to Ezekiel 38. Watch this. Kanye better be careful. And Kyrie. They don't play no games. It was an interview that I seen where Kanye was trying to, he was basically trying to put all the power moguls of the black people, like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Drake, all the powerful black people that we have in our community, right? He invited them to a fashion show. This is documentary. I mean, not a documentary. This is an interview he had. He invited them to a fashion show. When he invited them to this fashion show, he was basically promoting how them as black gurus, they can corner the market on whatever they want to do and have the power. Shortly after that, an Ish guy contacted him. That was a top guy in that particular industry with clothing because it was a fashion show. Contacted him and offered him, and this is where he talks about his deal with Adidas and stuff like that. And offered him a particular amount of money if he could have power over his brand. All right. Now, Kanye West later says that, and this is when they put him in a crazy home. He said that they tried to set him up and put him in a crazy home because one day he was fatigued, he was tired, and he almost fainted because he was doing a lot of work, and he woke up in a crazy home. And they were trying to say that he was losing his mind. That's where all that losing his mind came. After he tried to get everybody, you got to see Kanye talk about it, but it's the reason why they do that, because you can't corner the fashion district. You can't corner all the stuff that we own that influence the world. You can't talk about that. All right? You can't corner the market and have power. That's why when people try to say it's not our fault that those particular people with that community, they rose up and they got power and y'all don't do the same thing. Well, of course, because we got people that's working against us from getting and obtaining those types of power. Right. And you know how they're stopping us from attaining those types of power? They're stopping us from attaining those types of power by creating music that degrades us and telling us to continue to promote that. See what I'm saying? So now let's read that. Get Ezekiel 38. Start at verse 1.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God.
Now, it says, Son of man, set thy face against God. All right. Now, my question would be this. Why is it that out of all the Japhetic countries, that Japheth and all the lands that Japheth actually owns, why is he focused on God and Magog? Why is the prophecies focused on God and Magog? Because it's trying to tell you who's controlling the narrative right now, who's leading the charge. Watch this, read.
God, it says, verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, thus said the Lord God.
See that? God, Magog, Meshech, and Tubal, Turgamon, Gomer, all in the same area where these people rose into power. Watch this, read.
Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses, and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Takamah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee.
Where do these people descend from? They descend from these areas. But watch what the prophecy says, though. Read.
Verse 7, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
All right, so all thy company that is assembled with thee. Who is all that company that is assembled with these particular people in prophecy? When you read Revelations 20 is saying what? The nations is going to stand up and fight with them. Watch this, read.
Verse 8, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword.
Oh, it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. What days is this talking about? The end days. Remember, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. What land is that that's brought back from the sword? Israel. Watch this, read.
And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel.
Against the mountains of Israel, because where is this last battle going to be fought? And where is that at? In Israel. But wait, where are the real Israelites supposed to be? Scattered. And so when you read Joel chapter 2, who the hell is in that land? That controls everything. The Ish community. I guess the Bible anti-Semitic. To their definition, the Bible got to be. Because look at what the Bible's telling you. Watch this, read.
Which have been always ways, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
You see that? It is brought forth out of the nations. All right? And it's talking about us coming out of the nations and going back to our land, right? Which is desolate and conquered with a sword. Read.
Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus said the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil.
To take a spoil. When did Gog and Magog go into Israel and take a spoil? When did Gog and Magog go into Israel and take a spoil? 19 what? 48. How? They took the land. The land was desolate. Nobody was there. It was empty until 1948. And who put them there? The beast. Who was an extension of who? Rome. Who also disguises himself as Gog and Magog. Ashkenaz and Khazars. So when did they go? When did they go take a spoil? Watch this, read.
Verse 12, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places.
In the 740 AD, what did they do? They converted. And then after they converted, they said, what? We the real ones. They took the spoil. That's when they took the spoil. What's this, read?
To take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people
now inhabited. When did they turn their hands? When did Gog and Magog turn their hand to the desolate places? If this is actually talking about actual like prophetic means for like actual Russia, when did Russia do that? When did Russia go to Israel and take it over? They never did. They don't have no control over Russia. I mean Israel. So what is the Bible telling you? The Bible is telling you that a particular family in that landmass in a particular time period, which, remember what we say? A pseudonym? What did Esau do? He disguised himself as other people's names, right? So he became the Greeks. He became the Romans. And then what did he do? He said, this is me. I'm not Esau, this is me. He became the Ashkenaz. He became the Khazars. And then he later became a what? A Jew. So what is the Bible telling you? These people are the epitome of the evil that God is going to eradicate from the planet. Any Bible scholar, come sit down and tell me who it is if it ain't these people. Who's claiming Gog and Magog right now? We'll sit down and talk about it. Who's claiming Gog and Magog right now? Who? In that region. They literally, it's crazy how God plays chess. They literally cut themselves. You can't do nothing against that. Watch this. Read.
Salakia, verse 12, it says to take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods.
It says now they also have the power over the people, right? Do they have power over Israelites? How do they have power over Israelites? Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. Shut up, niggas. You getting out of line? Oh, you getting out of line? I'll have my media crucify you. Oh, you getting out of line? Your money is not good at these banks. Oh, you niggas is getting out of line? Kyrie, your shoe's not coming out. All Kyrie did was say, and it's so crazy because all Kyrie and Kanye West said, all they said was that they ain't going in like we going in. All they said was we Jews too. They got crucified for that. Watch this, read.
That dwell in the midst of the land. Verse 13. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil.
They took a great spoil, read. They stole that land, read.
Therefore, son of man, prophesy saying to God, thus saith the Lord God, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know?
Why do you think they so mad that Israel was waking up? Why do you think they're so afraid of that? Because really, ultimately, what this is showing you guys is fear. They're afraid. They're afraid. And you can, yes, and you can tell how fast they hit the panic button. To be honest, truthfully, all they have to do was leave Kyrie alone. A couple million people have seen it. But now, since they panicked, they hit that button, everybody is seeing it. Amazon, Negroes to Hebrews to Negroes, #1 on Amazon. Out of everything. Y'all see that? They hit that panic with all praises. They press that panic button because they know if them Negroes find out that they're Jews, what does that do to American society as we know it? It shuts it down because now who do they have to put in that land? You. They gotta take the Crips and the Bloods. You understand? They got essays, 10 tribes, our brothers. They gotta take all of y'all and put y'all into that land. Watch this, read.
Verse 15. And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company, and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel, as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, and the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes.
See that? They're gonna come with a great host. Now here's the thing, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Who owns the banking systems in Germany? They do. Who owns it in Great Britain? They do. Luxembourg, they do. All of the countries in Europe, they do. You understand? Watch this, read.
Verse 17, Thus saith the Lord God, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I will bring thee against them? It shall come to pass at the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face. For my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel.
The land of Israel, because this war is going to take place in the land of Israel. So I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is a great time that we're living in because we're starting to see the beginning of their fear. To press that button. Because remember, the whole thing is to keep Israel lost. Don't get lost in the political things and all of that. That's nothing. They want to keep you from knowing who you are. The Lord says, I'm going to destroy them out of the land. Go from there real quick. Read 39 and 1. Let's get it.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against God, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts.
Read verse 4.
Verse 4. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy band.
Why would they fall upon the mountains of Israel? Huh? They're going to be in the war. Huh? But where are they at? They in Israel right now. They're going to fall upon the mountains of Israel. Most High going to get rid of them. He's going to destroy them out of that land. You know, all the gay parades they having in that land, he's going to get them out of there. He's going to get them out of there. Watch this, read.
And the people that is with thee, I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort.
It says, I'm going to give you to the birds. So you know when dead bodies are piled up and birds come to eat the flesh? It said that's how you're going to be piled up. And then there's also going to be a spot for you in that region where your body's going to be laid. Y'all want to be in there so bad? Y'all want to be in Israel so bad? Yeah, you're going to be in Israel, all right. When the Lord come back, he's going to stack your bodies high and let the birds pick off you. That means he anti-Semitic according to their definition. Huh? Man, this is hate. It's hate right here. Watch this, read.
And to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord God. And I will set a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore.
Oh, praises. Israel not even going to pollute the name of the Lord no more, man. That's why it's such a beautiful thing to see what's happening with Kyrie and Kanye, and the Lord is using them to spark something in our people, because now everybody want to be Hebrew Israelites. And they are that. That's the point. The Lord, see, the Lord gonna work a work. When we thought, y'all know how we be shaking in the head with Israel, the Lord said, I got this. Don't trip. I'm gonna stir some stuff up between y'all and the Jews. Ain't that the craziest combination to have a battle with? Like black people and Jewish people? Huh? Clubhouse. Oh yeah, on Clubhouse, you know, we got Whack 100 and Bloods is banging on that could be. Never thought I would have seen that. Never thought I would have seen that. The Most High is raising up Israel. You understand what I'm saying? And it's going to be a beautiful thing. What's the read? We almost started to read.
And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, the Holy One in Israel. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Lord God. This is the day whereof I have spoken, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves, and the spears.
Read verse 11.
Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day.
Read verse 10. Read verse 10.
Verse 10. So that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them.
They're going to spoil those that spoiled us. Read.
and rob those that robbed them.
Who robbed us? Who claiming us? Who perpetrating as us? Bible says we're going to rob them who robbed us. Who robbing Kanye and Kyrie of who they are? Ain't they robbing us of that? They getting on they getting on our Facebook and our YouTube, and they telling us, y'all not, y'all Jews, ha 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 ha, y'all West Africans. No disrespect to my West African family, because we are West Africans, but we're West African Israelites. We come from Israel.
That's right.
And our people was in West Africa, but we not Ham. But you know what? They want us to be Ham. You know what's crazy? I don't think we got this much flack for trying to be Egyptians. Remember back when they was trying to say the Egyptians was white, and we got like John Henry Clark and all those Egyptologists, black Egyptologists, and they was claiming Egypt and claiming the name of Egypt back and all that. And didn't they let them do that?
Yeah.
You better not call yourself a Jew, though. Watch this, read.
I was gonna say, it's funny, you even got the Muslims saying we Jews.
Oh yeah, it's
I mean, they've been saying it, but they saying it even more. It's like they on the phone, like, yeah, no, we Jews. That's the crazy part.
The Lord is, y'all see what the Lord is doing? This is an exciting time to be alive right now. Like, this is an exciting time. I'm excited for stuff like this. Like when I see prophecy unfolding and I see this happening, like I get excited. It's crazy to me because the Bible is so real. Everything that we read, how can you make this up? How can you make up that somebody from the Isles of the Gentiles will rise up and basically have power over the nations and also spoiled our heritage? And they literally call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. They literally call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. They're literally calling themselves Gog and Magog Jews. You understand what I'm telling y'all? In the same region, and they rose up and they literally have power over everything. I mean, I have so much, I don't want to go through everything, but I got so much on the banks, entertainment, media, everything. You understand? Watch this. My God. Come on, it's all good. So then, when you get that taken care of, we're going to read verse. We're going to read, you know what? We're going to scratch that and we're going to go to verse. Did you read 11? You didn't read 11, did you?
No.
Okay. You're going to read 10 and then you're going to read 11. And then from there, we're going to go to Joel chapter 2. Go to Joel chapter 2.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel.
He says, why is it important for him to give God specifically a place of graves in Israel? Because that's where they want to be. So if that's where y'all want to be, y'all can be there in graves. Watch this, read.
And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel,
Read.
the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers. And there shall they bury God and all his multitude. And they shall call it the valley of Haman God.
We're going to bury them there. We're going to be there. We're going to stop the passages of them coming, because what are they doing right now? You know how many Eastern Europeans they put in Israel right now? They literally paying European Jews to go there. Literally, we'll give you some money if you go there. Can you imagine if they told black people, hey, we're going to pay y'all to go to where we took, we're going to pay y'all to go to a land, and we're going to build it up for y'all, and y'all can go there and be first-class citizens, y'all can have anything y'all want, have certain benefits there, just go there. Just go there. We just want to pay y'all to go there. Huh? Flight after flight, we're paying y'all to go there. Y'all, matter of fact, we're going to knock down all these communities that's not Jews, and we're going to give these areas to y'all now. That's what's starting a war over there with Palestine. They knocking down that, even though that land don't belong to them either. But nonetheless, they knocking down the land and all of that, and what are they doing? They're moving other people in. That land does not belong to them. Go to Joel chapter 2. Okay? We'll end it with this one. Joel chapter 2. You start at 1.
The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in thy holy mountain, in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
It says, let all of the inhabitants of the land tremble. Who's the inhabitants of the land right now in Israel? The Ish. He said, let them tremble. Why? Read.
A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it.
Watch this. Read.
Even to the years of many generations.
Read.
A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burning. The land is at the Garden of Eden before them. Behind them a desolate wilderness.
The Lord said, I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna destroy you about the land. So this stuff that Kyrie and Kanye are doing, the Lord said, don't worry. Because you know what people try to do? I also had some people tell us when I was listening to their little clubhouse, and also too on our comments on YouTube, I want to see y'all try to go take Israel. That's what they tell us. Oh, y'all Israelite? Yeah, that's 2 old women you was talking to. I want you to try to go over here and take Israel. You know why they talking gold like that? You think we can go take Israel right now? I think they're the what? They got the number 2 best military or something like that? Something like that. Let me look this up real quick. I'm just look up their military. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think they number. They're not number 2, but they up there. Yeah, China number 2. Let me see. Let me see. Israel, I know it's strong though. You said what? They got a lot of nukes because they allies with who? Beast. Yeah. Oh yeah, for 2 years, right? Yeah, I did hear something like that. Hold on, let me see. Dang, I want to see. Yeah, they got a strong one. I don't have to do it right now, but just know anytime. Let's do this. How much does America give for? They control America. Okay, here it is right here. Let me share this real quick. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna read this. Share screen, boom, watch this. So their military, all right. So since 2000, over 70% of annual American aid to Israel has funded military efforts. In 2019, a record 99.7% of the 3.3 billion in U.S. aid to Israel was for its military. So they gave Israel in 2019 $3.3 billion. All right. And 99.7% of that was for their military. Can you imagine $3.3 billion just for military? Y'all see what I'm talking about? That's why when they talk that mess and say, I dare y'all to go to Israel and try to take it. We can't. Who got to do it? How Shai gonna do it? You think they're gonna be able to fight? Hell no, he gonna, yeah, do it. Yeah, right. Finish reading Joel chapter 2 on your own, but let's read, let's just finish. We're gonna read one more. Read verse, because I want to just finish this. Read verse 5 again.
The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 5. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness.
The Lord said they're going to be scared. On that day, and it don't matter how much 3.3 billion US aid that they got, the Most High gonna come back. That's why we wait. This is what we do, family. We continue to spread this truth. We continue to teach our people. We continue to pray for our people and continue to keep the commandments of God. And we wait till Yahweh Shai, our true Lord and our King, comes back, and He gonna put their ass in their place. And y'all enjoy the times. Enjoy the ride. We ain't gotta work hard. Let's just keep the commandments and wait for the Lord and keep taking back who we are. Because they're afraid of us more than anybody. This is why they press the panic button like they did. They press the panic button because they're afraid of black people waking up, no whatever. But the faster you wake up, what happens? The faster Christ come back. All right, all praise to the Most High. We're gonna end it right there. All right, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and oh, Sister Milka said that. Okay, check this out. So Sister Milka said that they're ranked number 8 in global power. Now remember, that's a small. That's crazy for it not to have been established. What, in 1948? And they're already number 8. That's 40. How many years? 74 years. They number 8. It's crazy. But yeah, all praise to the Most High. I hope y'all enjoy class. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sabbath. We love y'all, and be peace. Most High willing, we see y'all next Sabbath. Shalom, family. Shalom. Seems like that.